comeback of a lifetime. I just got banned from Fortnite. This thing is going at the bottom. I just got banned from Fortnite. And now I am logging in. I am getting A after A after A. I am getting the top score in the top test of a lifetime. You guys are not ready for me to come in and log in. Now, you see, this thing is gonna get moved. Never mind. How do I do this? Yeah, it's gonna be here now. Jeez, studying's gonna be my number one. This is the comeback story of a lifetime. Alright, so we're gonna go small text full width. We're gonna set up this so we can end up making the comeback of a lifetime. Because without it, we can't. So, let's just make one for every subject.
Your word is convey. Can you spell house?
Oh,
Spell size.
so
Spell wind.
my
Can you spell proof?
mic. What? So,
Spell
oh wait, it's where.
comply.
Oh. So, we're gonna go.
Next up, dairy.
You said. Alright,
Next up, automatic.
automatic.
Spell
Yeah, so,
bamboo.
where's. Go.
Spell circle. Your word is tremendous. Your word is absence. Absence.
So, we're just gonna.
Can you spell voluntary? Next up, obesity. Spell albeit. Can you spell twist? The next word is pie. Your word is irony. Your word is workout. Spell brain. Next up, length.
W.
Can you spell giant? Spell intent. All right, spell water. Your word is absorb. Can you spell soda? Next up, duck.
Easy. Yo.
All right, spell zoo. Next up, ash. Spell town. The next word is random. Can you spell ink? Next up, still. Still. Spell robust. The next word is dairy. Your word is defy. Your word is pasta. Next up, win.
Yo.
Your
What is
word
that?
is word.
Yo.
The next word is
I'm winning.
pie.
Pie.
The next word is filter.
Dough.
The next word is still.
Still. No.
All right, spell magnificent.
Magnificent. I'm gonna play freak. Wait, I'm instantly in. Let's go. Yo, I'm actually gonna lose. Yo, sesquipedalian. That's the only word I know.
All right, spell pusillanimous.
What is that?
Can you spell superferromagnetism?
What the freak?
Can you spell Cyrillic?
What? Yo.
All right, spell gubernatorial. All right, spell capricious. Can you spell perspicacious? All right, spell acromatophilia.
Wait. What? No, he let me play everything but Fortnite. Yeah. What?
The next word is echo.
What? Okay. I will
Spell
be very good.
random.
I promise.
Next up, suck.
What?
The next word is
What?
house. Spell hotel.
I will be good.
All right, spell burial.
And at school. And in my college.
Can you spell giant?
I'll try get it.
Can you spell shake? Next up,
Yes.
greedy. Next up, comply. Can you spell heresy?
Can't move this
Heresy.
past the mic with this. And I'll take about 30 minutes to fix it.
Can you spell gold? Your word is cabin. Your word is rally. Rally. The next word is robust. All right, spell gender. Next up, ash. Next up, proof. Can you spell tank? All right, spell length. Can you spell ruby? Can you spell enact? Your word is convey. The next word is state. All right, spell intent. Your word is human. The next word is power. All right, spell stumble. All right, spell trauma. Can you spell kiss? All right, spell suck. Next up, gradual. Next up, formidable.
L trade. Chat. L.
Next up, dolphin. All right, spell ionize.
Some more? What? What? Huh? I'm so confused. I lost half my time, chat. I just did the worst trade in my entire life. How do I bet?
Today we are going over another Notion video, and this time it is all about how to make your Notion aesthetic as the cool kids say. I know sometimes it can feel
Easy.
a little frivolous to spend what little free time you do have on adding custom GIFs to your to-do list, and you might be asking yourself if this is just a subtle form of productive procrastination. But there are actually a few principles of psychology that do in fact support this behavior. Number one, when we feel like we have ownership over something, we are more likely to engage with it. So if you're around during the early 2000s and used MySpace or Neopets or AIM, then you'll know how powerful customization can be within our digital spaces. And number two, working in spaces that inspire us actually does increase motivation. If this wasn't true, companies like Google wouldn't have spent stupid amounts of money on nap pods and giant Lego sets or dressing adults in weird pinwheel hats when they could have just checked everyone in a gray sterile office instead. Also, if you have ADHD or are just suffering from an advanced case of chronically online brain rot, then maybe you do need some animated stickers and pretty banners to make you want to do anything more than just doom scrolling in bed, and that's okay. Now, I could just info dump a bunch of tips, but I don't think that's the most helpful thing to do here. Instead, I like to think of Notion as a game that has levels to it. So some of you are level 1, some of you are level 100, in which case you should probably be teaching me instead. But this video is going to be structured roughly by not only progressive difficulty, but also impact. So if at any point you feel bored, feel free to skip ahead in the timestamps, and if you feel overwhelmed, slow down, go back to the previous level and watch it again. And first up is level 1, simplify and declutter. So for the purpose of today's demo, I did put together just kind of a dummy dashboard that we can work with. If you've just gotten started with Notion, then you're probably gonna have something like this. Maybe you've tried a bunch of different templates already, maybe you've made some customizations, but generally this is kind of the basic information people start with. We have our title up here, you know, maybe like a little intro text, a quote, some pages, and then down here are just different databases like tasks, projects, journal, habits, resources. We're gonna go through and edit all of this, make it look a lot nicer. It's a little chaotic right now. So some of the first things we wanna do, go and turn off backlinks, because right now you can see a little indicator that we have 2 other pages linking to this, which is not very helpful. So if we turn that off, there, already looks a lot cleaner. And another trick I like to do, especially if you want to keep a lot of information on the same page, then you can use something called a toggle. So if we click slash, this automatically brings up our block selector. You can also just activate that by pressing plus. And if we go down here, you can see that there is a toggle list. So this will just be regular text, or you can go down, toggle heading. And I think we're going to use a heading. I'll use an H1. And I'm going to call this tasks. Get rid of this. And now we can pull this up into here. And see, now it disappears.
Studying is so broad, and so studying maths the same way you would study English, or studying French the same way you study physics, is really stupid. And as a student myself, over the years, and still now, I study a lot of weird and wacky subjects. Math, science, music, DT, classical literature, music, art, economics, psychology are just some of the subjects I've studied. And of course, out of those subjects, I had some subjects that I preferred and some I didn't like so much. As students, that doesn't really matter, because obviously you have to study a lot of subjects, but then you also need to get good grades for them.
Will my if bro, will this
Alors on danse. Alors on danse.
So we're gonna react
and resources.
and do this.
And then we can
do
go
this.
ahead and drag these in.
Let's do
Okay, still looks pretty simple,
Do
but
this.
at least there's not a crop ton of information.
What's the latest Notion one? What the free? Yo, this one. Wait, so surely this shows you like what she has on her.
Let me guess.
in
You tried
Notion.
using Notion and she's just not vibing with you. You're tired, frustrated, you feel like you're the only one giving to this relationship. Know yourself is a lifelong journey that's going to help yourself. This is going to serve as a foundation for your database views. And if you've never worked with database views before, I promise it's not that intimidating. It's really just the filters. Okay, let's open up Scrintl. So as I just mentioned, Scrintl is a productivity app that combines the best of whiteboard infinite canvassing with
Yeah.
document and C Command V. The second one,
What do
you see
they have
under links, it's
in
going to tell
Notion?
those new pages. It'll do it automatically for us, those new pages. Yes, you. I see you on Pinterest looking at Studio Ghibli banners and cute little GIFs. Unless you have limited time to waste and disappears from view, and all we have to do is open this. And for a shortcut, I'm going to type
Look, travel, chores, meal planner. The free. Wait, how do you favorite stuff? How do I favorite? Oh my! Yeah. Why do I have it in my here as well? Change the cover to this. No, top one. I think this is good, right? This. This. How?
I'm not kidding when I say I use Notion every single day. It's the first thing I open when I get to my desk, and by far, my favorite
Yeah.
and most used app
What is-
for studying, running Cajun Koi Academy, and managing my life. I was so stoked when they wanted to partner up with us and sponsor this video, fanboy. So I'm gonna show you guys the smart planner I created using Notion. It tells me what I need to study every day, so I don't even need to think about it. And it's aesthetic. And as a bonus, I'm giving away my workspace template for free because I love our rookies and I want you to feel organized and confident so you can enjoy your school life. All I ask is after this video, go check out Notion by using our special link in the description. Feel comforting and inspiring, which is mood, whatever tickles your pickle. On this page is also my master calendar, so I know which lectures I have going on for the week, along with any assignments to complete, which have this assignment tag on them. So I'm gonna explain how this template works and I use this classes you're taking. So if this was like chemistry, for example, I only made 5 folders in the template. Hopefully
So, it's like this one. Oh, how do I get a GIF? What the free? This one. Oh, how free? Oh, free. No, free. No. How do I redo? Alright. So, how do I do that? how to make. Oh, what if I make? Hold up, I need a frick. How do I get rid of this? Delete. There we go. So, free.
Hopefully you don't have to take more classes than that for any semester. Oof, that would be critical damage. But if you do have to take more classes, no big deal. Just click on the new button at the top right to create a new class folder, and it should automatically sync to all the other calendars in this template. All right, so let's put in some data. So let's pretend I'm taking physics class. I'll open up my physics folder here, expand it to full screen, and then I'll enter the name of my professor, folder here, expand it to full screen. Screen, and then I'll enter the name of my professor, Professor Oak, add their email, ashketchum@oak.com, class website, the course code, all that logistical stuff, just so it's handy. Now, when I scroll down, this is the individual calendar for physics. Don't worry, it's linked to the main calendar as well, so you don't have to enter information in twice. So this is when I would pull up my class syllabus and enter in every lecture and the date of that lecture. So let's say I'm learning maths on the 27th, learning about acceleration on the 28th, Newton's laws on the 31st, on Halloween, scary top of the screen. I can see every lecture and assignment for the whole semester. Pretty sick, right? I can also switch views to assignments, and I can see all of the assignments for every single class on the home page. The contacts page on the left should also be filled out if we've entered in all that information from inputting the class information. And I also like to link my school website. So last year I created the Ultimate Study Schedule. It's a smart planner that tells me exactly what
I can search him. So dumb. Which one? I'll just do this one. Don't it? What did I just do? In my world, I guess. These are my pages. Where did I just put it? Alright, these are my pages. How do I... Pages. Why is there a big spec? How do I do this? Wait, so what did this dude's one look like? How does he get these covers? Holy. Do not delete. I just delete. What do I do? I'm so confused. Chuck this in there. Let's go get another koi one.
What to study every day, so I don't need to think about it. And I was blown away by hundreds of messages and reviews like these and over 400,000 downloads. But since then, Notion has had some pretty epic updates, and I felt compelled to upgrade it and create the best possible workspace for.
How does he make?
So last year I created the ultimate study scheduler. It's a smart planner that tells me exactly what to study every day, so I don't need to think about it. And I was blown away by hundreds of messages and reviews like these and over 400,000 downloads. But since then, Notion has had some pretty epic updates, and I felt compelled to upgrade it and create the best possible workspace for learners to manage their studies. And as a bonus, I'm giving away my template for free. All I ask is that you share it with your friends, you share it with your ops, you share it with your teachers, you share it with anybody that you know, because my mission is to help create the best resources and tools for learning and earning. So whether you're a student slaying exams or you're studying to build your business, I know it's going to save you a ton of time and stress. And so if that sounds like your vibe, let's get locked in. So this is home base, complete with the new and improved Misty as well. I believe our workspaces should be a reflection of us, to inspire us to create things. So go ahead and change the welcome message to something that fits your vibe. So over the years, I've become really fond of wabi-sabi. It's the Japanese philosophy of simplicity. I realized that most of the dashboards and templates that I've seen from my students and on the internet are way too cluttered with features that they don't ever use. And so I stripped all of it away, and I made this as simple and easy to use as possible. There's just two sections now, a place for our courses and a place for our calendar. Oh, and at the bottom there is this do not delete toggle, which includes all of the databases that run this template and the instruction manual. So please don't delete this, or else you're going to break and ruin the template.
You have
Yo, how do I? What's this? How do I press on? Notes. How does he make this cool stuff? I have to make her a really nice cover. So, what do I do?
been officially warned.
So I'm going to explain how to use this workspace in 2 steps. First, how to set it up, and then how to use it. So setup is super simple. We're focused here on the course section. There are only 3 by default, which is already critical damage. You know, in medical school, we just had 1 class at a time. They were, of course, like super.
What is his last template? So I got it. So study scheduler. How do I copy this whole thing? Can I paste it here? I can't. I can. Yo, that's fire. How can I paste this? For it. I can. Alright, so we're gonna just delete this. So now we have the course. I'm gonna put this above. Wait, that's the wrong one. Above, yeah. So writing. So how does he have this? Is that it? What am I doing? Yeah, this dude's much better. This random drill.
You get the idea. I just copied and pasted. His birthday. You can find all the templates, creating pages based off of little tips that can pass in system and spend system and some as well.
How much do they have? What? Yeah, obviously. I only got 1 hour. So a photo. That's a W.
I spent the last decade of my life cycling through dozens. Now that we have our angle change, let's get started. What we're seeing right now is my Notion dashboard, and it looks a lot different than what I had showed you guys last year, mostly because I used to base my system off of a combination of getting things done and bullet journaling, but now I do still have a couple
so poorly. When I age, my skin's gonna become all like wrinkly. It's just gonna be like diseases, like bad stuff, like negativity, right? Whereas one group had a more positive outlook on aging. They had a more, it is what it is, like I'm gonna live my best life, and like, you know, I'm actually gonna take care of myself, and you know that aging's not even gonna be that bad. And the crazy part is that the group who expected to age poorly actually did. They went to like the hospital more frequently. They literally had like a worse quality of life. When they did tests, like they were more prone to get diseases, they had worse skin. Whereas the group with the positive outlook aged well, and they actually did end up living their best life. Expectations are powerful. It literally has an effect on your well-being and health when it comes to like the aging, and so your expectations when it comes to studying can actually dictate how long it takes. And since whenever I sat down to study on those weekends, I'd always be like, oh man, this is gonna take forever, this is gonna take hours, it's gonna be so boring. My study sessions ended up taking hours and actually being boring.
Damn.
Next time you sit down, use this framework. Say out loud this task, or like whatever it is, so past papers, studying, etc. This is only going to take X amount of time. easy. And as crazy as it sounds, when you start a task with this positive outlook and you tell yourself that it will only take like a certain amount of time, as opposed to, oh my god, this is going to take so much time, you end up finding ways to do something quicker. You're more focused and you'll be more efficient. As David Watson said, by changing your perception, you can change the way you act. And if you're tired of just being average and school feeling tedious and you just feel like you're not making enough progress, it just all starts with a change. I used to be kind of mediocre, average, until I made a change, and that led me to get these results. But you can't get this without knowing what to change. And there's so much that you need to learn, especially if you want to study fast like I did, because I needed to have the time to do all these other things that I still love. And so if you want to learn how to study efficiently, you want to learn how to become a top student in one
how do you do
get the
this?
extracurriculars, build up an impressive portfolio. It all starts with learning how to be productive, how to be efficient. And these are all things that I teach you in this free study masterclass. So make sure to check that out first in the description. It's completely free. Anyway, back to the video.
Did he say free?
The second chapter is you're doing too much.
I am.
Imagine you're a miner and you're looking for gold. You dig and dig and dig, but most of the dirt you find is just regular dirt. However, in a small part of the mine, you discover a huge vein of gold. That small area is what gave you most of your wealth, right? That's the 80-20 rule. In studying, there are certain concepts like gold. They're worth more than others, and you can find these gold nuggets, which isn't found everywhere. They're only found in like certain areas. And when you focus your study time on those areas, you're going to end up getting so much more better results. You don't have to dig everywhere to find treasure. You need to focus on the right spots. The main reason that studying takes a lot of time is because you spend time studying everything. But let me tell you something. Let me make this a rule. From now on, you should only be spending time on studying areas that are your weak points or areas that will be tested heavily in exams. Suddenly, you're not having to spend time on your strong points, because although that's the most fun part of revision because you're going to get all this stuff right, you're not actually learning anything new. And when you revise, you need to study the areas that will come up in the exams. And so when you study heavyweight topics in the exams, you know you can bag yourself the most marks. And this 80-20 rule can also be applied in the context of how you study. During your study sessions, 20% of what you do actually gives you 80% of the results, and then the remaining 80% of that only actually gives you 20% of the results. And so it makes sense to only focus on 20%, especially when we're trying to study fast. The way to find out what parts of your study session are the most important is to ask this one question. If I only had 2 hours a week to study for whatever subject that you're trying to study for, what would it look like? It may seem like a ludicrous and it might seem like a ludicrously short amount of time, since you might be used to like multiple hour-long study sessions per day. But once you ask yourself this question, you naturally categorize the most important and non-important parts of your study sessions. For me, before I optimized my study sessions, it would contain a lot of relearning. I'd reread textbooks, I reread notes, and then I review, and then finally I test. But if I had only 2 hours a week to study for that topic, I'd focus on just doing past papers, because actually getting familiar with the exam structure and getting to know what kind of questions might come up is far more valuable than actually relearning, because you're not trying to relearn everything when it comes to an exam. It's called revising for a reason. It's not relearning. And a common thing that a lot of students say when I advocate for you to do past papers is, I can't just do past papers since I'm not actually learning anything. But studies prove that you actually learn most through your mistakes. And so when you do papers and you get stuff wrong and you review the mistakes, that's more of an efficient learning than all the other study techniques put together. It's not study or revision if you're not making mistakes, and so you should focus your time on that. And the third tip is to put a timer on. This is a kind of a unique tip, but try timing your study sessions when you do them. There's many reasons for this. Firstly, when you have a timer in front of you, you're acutely aware of how much time you're spending on the study session. And so you see that if you've been studying for like an hour already, you know how much time has elapsed and you know if you need to speed up or slow down. Also, studies actually prove that when you time doing something, humans are just naturally inclined to try and get it done in the least amount of time possible. That's why speedruns exist, right? And also, when you have a timer on, you can also start to set targets. I want to get this task done in 1 hour. And when 1 hour passes, you know if you've been efficient or not. And that's why when you like climb mountains, there's checkpoints. Like by like hour 14, you want to get to like the checkpoint A, checkpoint B. And imagine instead of that, you just said you wanted to get to the top of a mountain by 4 days time. During those 4 days, you wouldn't know if your pace is correct or not. You can start to do the same with study. When I used to study poorly, I would never tell myself like how long I'd be there. I just say like I need to study. And so I ended up spending the whole day there, 8 hours. And as we talked about, my brain started associating study sessions to be 8 hours long, right? And so I dreaded it, and that led to procrastination. But the trick is to always set the time that you're going to use to study to be something that's unrealistically realistic. Parkinson's law says that your task will always fill the dedicated time that you give it. So actually, although 1 hour might be unrealistic, and you might think this like, oh my god, there's no way I can finish this in 1 hour. I used to think this as well, but when I actually like gave myself 1 hour or 2 hours to do the task that would normally take 8 hours, you'd be surprised that I actually found that I could get it done in that amount of time. Never underestimate efficiency, the flow state, and getting things done in the least amount of time. Don't believe me? Set up a timer for your next study session, and you'll be surprised about how efficient you are. And if you like this video, you probably like learning from me. And so if you want to make sure that your student years grades are the best they can be. You want to get the top grades like I've done. You might want to check out this Student Accelerator. It's where me and experts help you become the best student you can be with exclusive courses, workshops, and live calls. The value there is immense. Make sure to check that out, first link in the description. But as always, take action, and I'll see you in the next one.
There's a skibbity in my head. Am I gonna get coffee? What is it? Support. Or that's actually the best. That's the best GIF that I've seen all day. How do I copy that? Unk.
As a student myself, I've tried countless study methods. When the word from your book, so what you're studying, the sixth study technique is reading than reading your notes, because this does nothing. Like, editor, put the research on the screen. Like, this is literally the worst thing you can do. It gives you the impression that you're being productive, but look at this, you only retain 10% of what you actually read. Yeah, it's so over for you. Like, there's not much more to be said, because it gives you the illusion that you think you're studying, you think you're retaining information. If you use this as your form of studying and revision, as is passive, you're not testing your knowledge, you're not improving.